Hello everyone, my name is Nicole with LadyPrefersToSave.com, and today I'm sharing with you 7 things I no longer purchase as a minimalist. So if you'd like to see some of the ways that minimalism has helped change the way I spend, stay tuned. Okay guys, so let's get started. The first thing I no longer buy as a minimalist are paper products, and that includes paper plates, paper cups, paper napkins, plastic cups, plastic cutlery, or the like. And I want to say this is just minimalism, but it's really not. This is more of an advancement of post-minimalism in becoming a zero-waste household. I actually have several drawers in my kitchen dedicated to all of my cleaning cloths, and that would include towels like flour sackcloths to put over baked goods. It includes bar mop towels, a lot of my e-cloth towels, microfiber towels for dusting, any kind of cloth I would need for cleaning, the reusable dust heads for my duster, as well as the reusable mop heads for my steam mop, my business steam mop. All of these things would be located in 2 drawers in my kitchen. And in addition to that, in terms of dishes, I use a simple set of Corelle white plates in my kitchen and bowls. I have just a few coffee mugs and a few pieces of bakeware, and all of that suffices for my kitchen just fine. I don't really need any reusable products, and in terms of like glasses, I use mason jars. I also use the same mason jars as Tupperware. I can also freeze in them, so that takes care of baggies and things too. If I have friends coming over, if I need something, quote, disposable, I actually will go on Amazon and I will purchase sugarcane fiber plates if that's something I want for the holidays, but technically, while being disposable, they're actually compostable, and so they don't take up any clutter. They don't take up any room in landfills, and it's something that I can feel good with using. I've literally only taken that option, however, in the last 2 years twice, and so it's not something I can readily say I do a lot, but I have done that in full disclosure. But ordinarily, 99% of the time, I just use what we have on hand. Everything is reusable, and all paper products have to be reused and repurposed. Things that get holes in them are later turned into further cleaning cloth, say for the car, or something that could later be composted, or could be perhaps turned into family cloth, which is something else that we do to no longer have to buy in the house. We don't buy toilet paper. We have the bidet system with the family cloth in each bathroom, and we also have a wet dry bag recycled from the baby days that hold those towels. It's washed every day or every other day with natural bleach, and so we no longer have to buy any of those products either. The second item that we no longer, and I no longer especially purchase as a minimalist, are cleaning supplies. And by that I mean none of them. We don't buy Windex, we don't buy floor cleaners or dishwasher tabs or laundry detergent. We don't buy any of those products. The majority of our cleaners come from simple things that you more than likely already have around the house. For example, our biggest and favorites would be a surface cleaner, as well as a degreaser made out of vinegar infused with citrus peels from the juice that I use in the juicer. I also make my own pine sol made with pine boughs from my backyard, infused in vinegar for 3 months, and it is absolutely amazing. I also make my own Febreze with vodka and witch hazel and essential oils. I also make floor deodorizer out of baking soda, cornstarch, and essential oils. The list goes on. From detergents and cleaners, anything that I need around the house, I can figure out how to make it or have made it. Normally in the past, I literally had cabinets and cabinets and cabinets full of cleaners. I was big into the Lysol wipes. I was big into Barkeeper's Friend, Clorox bleach, a lot of the really expensive, the Boner floor cleaners. Let's see, something else I bought a lot, Swiffer cloths, a lot of these things, and then I realized slowly and slowly I didn't need the Boner cloths. I didn't need the Lysol and the Clorox wipes. I didn't need any of the chlorine bleach in the house. I didn't need anything that contained chemicals that I didn't want around my family or my pets. Just things that I didn't need, and each month by making my own cleaners, I save about $48 on average, and that is a huge amount of savings over what I paid normally. It also saves me a trip to my local Sam's Club because that's where I bought most of those things. And now I not only can make my own cleaners, I don't have to have a ton of plastic containers at my house. I don't have to worry about running out of product and having to go to a store during rush hour or 5 o'clock, because invariably that's when you would run out. And I never have to worry about any of those things at home. My biggest tip, if you want to start with zero waste cleaning methods, would be Dr. Bronner's Castile soap. You can use it from everything from body wash to washing your dishes. You can also use it with baking soda and cornstarch, and you can actually make your own dishwasher tabs. There's a lot of stuff that you can do with it. In fact, the bottle shows you close to 30 ways you can use the one product. So if you're looking for a great way to start, I would definitely say Castile soap. It will save you a ton of money, and the environment will be a better place too. The third thing that I no longer purchase as a minimalist is fast fashion, which is something that has stressed me out over the years immensely. For a long, long time, I had closets and closets and closets full of clothes that I never wore. Even after college, when I lived on my own, I had a townhouse that was to the brim full of clothes. I mean, to the point that there were no space between the hangers in the closet. And yet every day I woke up and I had nothing to wear, or at least that's how I felt. And I have later come to find out, as a minimalist, the reason for this was fast fashion. I bought things based on what the sales expectations of others were, what magazines dictated, what other people thought I should look good in, or how I should afford the clothes that I wear each day. I've also come to realize that I literally only wore 20% of my clothes 80% of the time. Everything else, including at one time a huge purge of 9 lawn and leaf trash bags full of clothes that had to be donated, and several bags more that went on sites like ThredUp and Poshmark. I just had too much. I did not wear them. I also kept tons and tons of clothes around because I thought I would one day fit back into them again, and that was just depressing. Nobody wants to have that basket full of clothes that you're never going to be able to fit. I don't keep them. Even after several pregnancies, I don't keep any maternity clothes on hand. If it's something that I need later on, I would go buy that. If I need a smaller pant size or a larger dress size, I'll go buy it. I also make a point of buying intentionally, and by that I buy the majority of my clothes, except for some shoes, secondhand. I enjoy going thrift shopping. I enjoy seeing what I can purchase online secondhand. Some of my favorite sites include swap.com. I also love looking at ThredUp, although I would recommend ThredUp more for the buying and not the selling aspect of secondhand clothing. I also like eBay for particular items such as jeans and shoes and purses. And of course, something that you can do is check out Craigslist or Facebook local sites, because especially for children's clothes, you can tend to buy a lot of clothes in a huge mass, or a bin of clothing for something pretty cheap, and what you don't need, you could of course donate and pass on to other people for a tax receipt each year. So by getting rid of fast fashion, I literally save thousands of dollars a year over what I was spending in my mid-20s on clothes, and I am more the better for having done it. And the best part is that now, as someone who maintains a seasonal capsule wardrobe, I know exactly what's in my closet. I love every piece. I look great in each piece. And every morning I can get up with an outfit that I've laid out the night before, and I feel awesome in it. So the fourth thing that I no longer purchase as a minimalist is a huge surplus of living closet staples. I no longer need to hoard a ton of blankets or bedspreads or quilts. I will say I do have more than one quilt per the 2 beds that are in my home, but I only do that because I do seasonally change them out, because I find that that's a lot of wear and tear in washing in the washing machine. If it was, say, 100 years ago and you wash things by hand and put them on the line, there probably wouldn't be a necessitation for that, but for right now, I like to keep a beige and a white set of quilts, and I will also keep a few throws to go over top, something neutral like in a taupe or a gray, or perhaps I do have one plaid throw for the fall, but these are more layering pieces, and that's just to keep everything kind of nice and pristine. In previous years, I had a ton, like a dozen quilts and 7 or 8 comforters, and now I literally have a handful of things in my linen closet, and it's so much easier to find everything. Everything's neat and stacked and orderly, and I love it. Something else I've done is I've replaced the sheets in my home. Instead of having cheap polyester sheets from stores such as Walmart and Target, I instead purchased one set for each bed in flannel, like a really nice quality sourced set. I also have for each bed a set of really nice bamboo sheets, much more breathable, great on the skin. I really enjoy the feel and texture of the bamboo sheets, and they're also much more green and eco-friendly, and so that's something, as time moves on, if something happens to those sheets, I will either donate or turn them into family cloth. The fifth thing that I no longer buy as a minimalist would be toys. And by that I mean, in years past, I would purchase at the holidays tons and tons of toys for the littles. I would get a ton of toys for my fuzzies. I would get my husband several like remote control cars or an accessory to this, that, and the other. And we just don't do that anymore. My pets actually have a very small toy section, and there's so few toys that they actually sit under one cat tower laid out that they can kind of play with when they want them. In terms of like the kiddo, not very many, everything can fit into a couple baskets. If I get a lot of product reviews or something coming into the house, I will pass those on to either my local charity shop, women's shelter, the United Way, or we'll send them to school with my husband for other kids who can use them. We just don't need them here. I find that having a small amount of toys for everybody, including myself, I actually have a puzzle basket. Everything has to fit in that one basket. My husband has a couple drawers in the back room that he keeps his juggling things and his video games and a few of his, bric-a-brac, but very, very minimal. Everybody has very few toys, very few things. We tend to take better care of them. We like to buy better, and the majority of those items moving forward will probably be purchased secondhand on eBay or something we can get a local thrift shop, or if we do get them or they're a product review, they can be donated afterwards. We don't feel the need to keep a ton of toys on hand. I also feel that when I did buy baby gear and baby toys, it was out of control bananas. I mean, there's no reason that we needed to have a jumper and two exercisers and the rainforest jumper and the turn-on chair and the lamb rocker and the sheep rocker. I mean, it was bananas. We literally had an extra room full of baby gear in anticipation for this, that, and the other that wasn't needed, and we ended up donating all of it. And so that was something that we will not be doing again. We like to, instead of buying toys, we like to have experience gifts, go to the movies, get books and things from the library, find projects on Pinterest, things that can be printed and used and recycled or composted, things that don't take up a lot of room, or some kind of craft that could be perhaps given as a gift, or a skill that can be learned instead of a whole bunch of stuff. Everybody in the house pretty much has a basket or two of things, and that's about it. The sixth thing that we no longer purchase in mass, and with a caveat to this one, would be books. Now, I will say this, as a minimalist, you're all the time going to hear that you should be buying digital, it's better for the environment, and while that's the case for many people, I'm not an e-reader gal. I kind of like the tactile nature of a book. That's not to say I haven't owned and don't own now an e-reader, but I do prefer books. But I will say my first line of defense is always books from the library. That's going to be number one. We check out books weekly. We go through them. We will request from our county library a new book to be brought into the library if they don't have it in the stacks or it's not available. We will also then look into the Overdrive app if we want to see if perhaps they have it available that could be used as an audiobook or an ebook or a PDF download. At that point, we will also check to see if it's something that we can locally, there's some swap groups on Facebook in my area that you can borrow a book from somebody or an exchange book if it's something that you want to see. And then of course, last but not least, we would look on the used books on eBay. Formerly, we would have looked on half.com, but now that they've been discontinued, we just go to the mother company, which is eBay, and see if it's something that we can get. And the nice thing about eBay is they actually have eBay Bucks now, so any of the secondhand books that we get purchased using money that I transfer from my Ibotta app will go to PayPal, and I use that to buy a book. Any of the books that come in are read. They are then either donated to the library or my thrift shop for a tax receipt, or they are again sold on eBay, so they actually don't sit in the house. But I would say 90% of the time it's free, it's ebook, it's something that doesn't physically sit in the house. Something else that I've enjoyed are going online to YouTube and other sources like the Gutenberg and listening to a lot of audiobooks. That's something that I have really enjoyed over the last year. I will also go onto iTunes and I will look up things such as Masterpiece Theater or classic radio shows that a lot of podcasters will recreate a version of an audiobook, if you will, like an old school audiobook, and so we really enjoy that. And in terms of entertainment / book, at our thrift store, we also do purchase, because we collect vinyl at our house very selectively. We have found kids' audiobooks such as the vintage Disney record book collections from like the 50s and 60s, which are pretty awesome. We can get a lot of those records for 25 cents or less. And once they're no longer used, they can go right back to the thrift store. So we do that as well. But in years past, you got to consider we maintain memberships at all the major booksellers, and we would purchase easily over $100 a month in books. And now we just don't. We just don't buy books in that speed. We just don't really have a need for it. We also have a great local charity shop that supports a local orphanage, and we can buy books there on a 10-cent rack. Some of them are even hardcover books. A lot of them are books that came out within the last year to 2 years, so you never know what you'll find there. Once we read the book, it again goes either on eBay or it goes to the local library, and so books just don't sit around the house. And last but not least, guys, the seventh thing that we no longer buy as minimalist is the newest, latest, greatest tech gadget. Guys, listen, in full disclosure, we used to be those people. We bought the new iPhone every single time it came out for the new sales season. We were the same people that constantly updated the iPad, bought a new computer, had to have the new watch, whatever the case may be. We bought it, we needed it, or so we thought. Now we just don't have the need to do that. We have a more intentional direction for our family in terms of minimalism and zero waste living, and so that's not something that is really pertinent for us. If we need a new phone, not if we want, but if we need a new smartphone, we will go through our carrier, we will buy the phone outright. We do not lease or make payments on a phone. We do not take the extra coverage. We would buy an OtterBox or a case for our phone, and then as an extra measure, we will have my husband crochet a case to go over top of a case to keep everything in great working order. Items in our house have to have functionality and not just be pretty. They can't just be the new thing. It has to be something that my husband needs for his class at school, or his classes online that he teaches, or for my blog, or live media, or whatever it is that I need for my businesses, as well as my online Etsy shop and my online art business. These are things I would need for that. That would be the reason to go purchase something. In terms of anything else, people in the house, we have a shared system. If you want to watch a movie, or you want to read a book, or you need a device to play a game, or whatever that is, we have iPads in the house, we have phones, we have computers. It's on a shared system. Whatever you need can be shared and can be used, so everyone does not need a new device. Our kid, future kids, family members, littles, if you will, don't need a separate tablet. They don't need their own device. This is something that is not necessary. It's not something that is intrinsic that needs to be in our kids' lives. I grew up in a generation, and I'm only in my early 30s, we were not constantly under the inundation of social media. We weren't constantly in front of a screen. We even had limited television time at home. And that's something that I want as a minimalist and as a zero waster in my own home too. Someone does not need to be in front of a screen every minute of their lives. The more we are in front of technology, I feel, the more isolated we become. We need to not worry about deciphering emoticons. We need to worry about what someone's actually saying and how another person's feeling and putting kindness into the world. And so I feel by not buying the latest and greatest tech product, you are actually promoting those values within your home. And as a side note, just over this past week, reports confirmed what a lot of iOS users have already known for years, including myself. Apple, to keep up with the demand of higher apps and lower battery percentage in their devices, actually slowed down all Apple devices with each update. So we're actually creating, by buying more and more and more products, we are creating less of a demand for what we already have and love at home, and we are feeding into the consumerist cycle that when something doesn't work exactly the way that we think it should work, we just ditch it and get something new instead of finding workarounds to make what we have work in the lives that we have today. And so we have decided as a family that's something that we no longer want to do, and so we're just not buying it. It's kind of like moving away from fast fashion, moving away from fast gadgetry. These are things that are no longer part of our value system, and it's something that has not only increased our budget each month, but helped us be happier, healthier people. And that is something that I am glad to be passing down to the next generation of Roberts, and it is something that I find a source of pride in. So guys, those are the 7 things I, as a minimalist, and my minimalist family is no longer buying as of 2017. And so now I want to ask, are there things that you are not buying in your home? Not just as a minimalist, but just as someone who may be a savvy saver or a budgeter or a really cool frugalist at home. I'd love to hear about that below. And as always, please be able to turn on those subscriptions and notifications, and let me know in the comments below if you're doing anything differently. I would love to connect with you as well if you are a fellow YouTuber. And as always, please be kind to yourself and to others and have a wonderful rest of your day, and thank you for watching.